A Little Princess, Chapter 15, Searching for a Child.
Sarah was fond of the large family because they looked happy. But she liked the gentleman next door because he looked unhappy. The school servant will always talk about him. Sarah learned that the English gentleman had become ill after losing his fortune. He gotten his fortune back, but he was still sick. His problem was connected with diamond mines, said the cook. She glanced at Sarah. We all know their trouble. That man was just like Papa, Sarah said to herself. He felt just like Papa felt, only he did not die. So Sarah grew even fonder of the sick gentleman next door. Whenever she was sent out at night, she stopped outside his house. She liked to peek into the house to see him sitting in his armchair, his forehead resting in her arm. She often wished him good night. Perhaps you can feel my good wishes, even you can't hear them, she said. I hope you'll get well and be happy again. I'm so sorry for you. She went on her way, feeling comfort and a bit warmer herself. But she kept worrying about the man. He looked to Sarah like someone who had a lot of trouble on his mind. Meanwhile, Mr. Large and his daughters, Janet and Nora, often visit the gentleman. The sick man's name was Mr. Carrisford. Mr. Large's real name was Mr. Carmichael. He was Mr. Carrisford's lawyer. One evening, Janet told Mr. Carrisford about the little girl who is not a beggar. He was very interested. Then Brandes told him the story of the monkey escape. Brandes described the servant girl's old attic room and her hard, narrow bed. The story upset Mr. Carrisford. He was wealthy and comfortable, while children were cold and hungry. I wonder how many attics in London are like that one, he said to Mr. Carmichael. How many young servant girls sleep on hard bed while I sleep on soft pillow. My dear fellow, Mr. Carmichael answered in a cheerful voice, you must start thinking thoughts like this. Even if you had all the wealth in the world, you could not improve all the attics in London. You must focus on your thought on becoming well. Mr. Carrisford sat and bit his nail as he stared into the fire. Do you think the girl I'm looking for is living in such a horrible place? He asked suddenly. Mr. Carmichael looked at him uneasily. He knew that this kind of thinking was very dangerous to a very gentleman's health. I don't think so, he said finally in a shouting tone. That girl was adopted by a wealthy Russian couple. I must find her, Mr. Carrisford went on. If she is friendless and penniless, it's all my fault. She is the daughter of my dear friend Captain Crewe. Are you sure his daughter was sent to a boarding school in France? Mr. Carmichael asked. Perhaps we're searching for the wrong girl. I'm not sure of anything. Mr. Carrisford bit his nail again. Captain Crew is and I talk mainly about the mine. Her mother was French, so I assume she went to a French school. The French headmistress pronounced the student name Carew instead of Carew. Mr. Carmichael reminded him. It's possible that we are on the trail of the wrong girl. We must find Crew's daughter. Mr. Carmichael clutched Mr. Carmichael's arm. Help me find her. Don't worry, said Mr. Carmichael. I will go to Moscow to look for the girl. If she not the right girl, we'll keep searching. If I were able to travel, I would go with you, said Mr. Carrisford. But I'm too ill. I can only sit here, wrapped in fur and staring at the fire. And when I look into it, I see Crew's face gazing back at me. He asking me a question. Tom, where's my little girl? Mr. Carrisford grabbed Miss Carmichael desperately. I must able to answer him. On the other side of the wall, Sarah was sitting in her room, talking to Mel the rat. It was very hard to be a princess today, Mel, she said. It's getting harder as the weather gets colder and the streets get wetter. Lavinia had laughed at Sarah's skirt, patterned with mud from the street. But Sarah had not responded. You can snap at people if you are a princess, she exclaimed to the rat. But it was such a cold afternoon, and it is so cold tonight. Sarah put her head on her lap. Oh, Papa, she whispered. It seemed like such a long time since I was your little girl. And that is the end. Thank you for listening.